What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What Words Are Worth. And today I got an artist, producer, rapper, able to do it all that you know of, heard his sound, nodded your head to it. He's worked with different artists such as Sean Price, Conway, Black Thought, Master Ace, Jean Grey. The list goes on. Part of a group called the Justus League and the Away Team, and even Jericho Jackson. Who I'm talking about? Who I'm talking about? The phenomenal Khrysis, and we're gonna kick it with him and learn a lot about how he comes up with these dope beats, the songwriting, the producing, and get some tips from him. Make your beats tighter. All right. So welcome to the stage, the phenomenal producer, artist extraordinaire, Khrysis. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, G? What's going on? Thanks for having me,
Man,
man.
I appreciate you doing this, man. I know you're a busy brother. We were just talking, and you said you just dropped the TF project.
Yeah, man. So I dropped the project with my man TF, man. He's from South Central, man. You probably first heard him on Schoolboy Q's album on a record called Tookie Knows. And of course he's been, past few years, he's been dropping projects with Muggs and Rock Marcy and, cats like that, you know what I'm saying? And on that tip, I think he
Yeah.
dropped something, you know, he's been on a few projects, man. And then he just, shout out to my man Bro Networks, man. And he was staying in North Carolina at the time, when we were both staying in North Carolina at the time, Doe brought him in town, man, and brought him to the house, man. And we cut the first record the first night, and the next day we cut the last record. And I think, yeah, and then after the third or fourth record, it was like, yeah, it's on and popping. So we kind of been on, ever since, man. And I appreciate everybody who's been listening to the album so far, man. And the response for the record has been going crazy. So, we got the guests on the album, man. We got Bun B, Currency, Sir, Flea Lord, and Smoke Dizza. And then my man Meek from Young Bull. And West Side Web. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody that participated on the record too, man. So yeah.
You have a video for it, right?
Then we got three videos, right? We got
I
three
saw
videos
I
out
saw it
right
on
now.
Instagram. I saw the video on
So yeah.
Instagram.
We
Okay.
got the record. We got the video for the Bun B record. It's called Mr. Servon. We got the record for What It Is, featuring Sir, and then the record with the record called Nostalgia featuring Currency, which all dropped. With that one dropped the night of the record premiere. So yeah.
So, man, I wanted to talk to you because I've known you for a minute, but it's also dope because sometimes we don't get to talk all the time, but Instagram keeps us in touch, so you can be at least acknowledge like what's up by hitting a like and yo, what's going on here and there. But
Yeah.
I wanted to just kind of like, what's the origin of your name? I've just what's the origin of the name?
So all right. So I got that name when probably I was about 16 or 17. Right? It's dope that you get to ask this shit. I was probably 16 or 17 at the time, and I was doing college radio while I was still in high school at the HBCU in my town. I'm from Durham, so NCCU, North Carolina Central University, which is also the college that members of the Justice League and
Yeah.
little such as Fonte, Sean Don, and Ninth and Pooh and Big Doe, they all went to that school. So, excuse me, they all went to Central. So, I was going there as a kid, man, and I think along the way, I got to do my first celebrity interview, and it was a comedian by the name of Talent. And I think we all know him from either Comic
Yeah.
View or if you need a better reminder, a lot of us know, most of us probably know him from the Fuji skit before Fuji. He's the kung fu nigga on the Fuji album before
Or
Fuji La.
the Sunset
Yeah,
movie, Sunset Park.
no, oh, he was in Sunset Park. Okay, yeah, some cats
He a
know him from that.
basketball
See.
player.
See, I ain't know that. Now that one I ain't know. So yeah, I know we most notably would be the Fuji's album, I would say.
Okay.
So, but then of course he did the Comic View as well. So I had to interview him, man, and then I guess he was looking at me. Like I said, I'm like 16, 17 years old, man. I was a hyper ass little kid, and my name was Chris, and I didn't want to just go as that. So I I need a stage name or something. And I guess Cat saw how hyper I was and was just like, you just call yourself Khrysis. And I was like, okay, bet. And then I just, sat down. I figured I just messed with the letters, man, to figure out a different way to spell it. And Khrysis, just, I don't know, that stood out to me. And then, I tested it out with a couple folks around me and everybody was like, yeah. So it kind of like stuck. I've been getting called Khrysis well into my 40s now.
Yeah, yeah. I
You know what I'm
mean,
saying? So
um, it's well renowned, man. It's well renowned.
appreciate it, man.
So as far as your sound, right? To me, if somebody asks me your sound, I'm going to describe it like one, the drums are going to be hard, bass line is always going to be thorough, but there's also you have a great balance of like being able to be soulful, also a balance of making something that can work underground or commercial. Like you have a way to make something that would just is well-rounded and universal.
Mhm.
How do you define your sound and your influences?
I mean, it is very. I mean, I would describe myself as well rounded. It's basically influenced off of all the music that I grew up listening to. You know what I'm saying? Like beyond hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like because I grew up listening to jazz and what I'm saying, lots of R&B and I gospel in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like I come from a very church heavy family, so gospel was always something. And, I had to, I was in church too, what I'm saying,
Right.
participating and getting piano lessons and all of that stuff. I played in band when I was a kid, you know what I'm saying, all of that stuff. So I played a few instruments growing up. And I just was always infatuated or like, I was just always like addicted to, in my pops would say I was obsessed with music, you know what I'm saying? So, I just kept digging, it was just a wormhole for me. I just kept digging into it, man, and I never stuck with just listening to one type of music all my life, neither. You know what I'm saying? So we got some rock and roll. I guess what they call yacht rock now. You know what I'm saying? We used to call it blue eye soul. You know what I'm saying? So all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like jazz, rock and roll. There was actual like I was rocking with the hair bands like Aerosmith and I might mess around. We get in the car, man. I play System of a Down on your ass real quick. You know what I'm saying? Just to, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I'm all over the place like that. So yeah, it's just I like music. So it's all. Even though I'm making hip hop or whatever genre, it's music first to me. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm making hip hop, I guess I reached a point where it's not. I'm just not trying to like. There's always going to be a method to the madness. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to
Yeah.
be it's music first to me.
I
You know what I'm
think
saying?
crisis. What's so crazy is I think like I'm not sure how old you are, but I do recall like when you started making music and coming out and like LB and all of y'all started making stuff. I felt there was more of an understanding of music business. Was like you had that
Ah,
acumen, like because I felt like the stuff you would make and how you describe all these different things you listen to, like my generation and maybe a generation before, we kind of grew up more like hip hop or nothing in a way, right? Like we were kind of like,
mhm.
and then people started just really sometimes fronting on other genres, and you didn't really get that diversity until we got older. But it seemed like you came in more diverse, and you remember there was a time of like underground versus commercial and all of that. So
Right.
it seemed
Well,
like, yeah,
all my favorite producers had R&B records in the tuck. Think about it. Cream, Pete. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Tech killed radio with Round and Round. You know what I'm saying? Dilla
mm,
killed the radio with you know what I'm saying? Like all my favorite Knots was on the radio. Like all my favorite producers had R&B records in the tuck. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
or they were either in the tuck or on they were out. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of missed a lot of the good stuff because like how old was you when you found out Pete Rock did that Before You Walk Out My Life remix? You
I
know what I'm
wasn't even,
saying?
yeah, because I wasn't even looking for him
You wasn't
in those
looking
films. You know what I'm saying?
right. You know what I'm saying? Like that Round and Round Jonelle record, that's High Text record from the album with the Sun God on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah,
like I'm already there. You know what I'm saying? All my favorite producers did R&B and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like Yeah, all the way down from Dilla to Timberland. You know what I'm saying? So like and that was a range I had, you know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah,
to me that,
I think you
I think
inspired.
that was just my job as a producer to be well rounded as off rip as it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think like Dilla and a lot of other producers, after a while, just started saying, "I'm gonna mess with this genre, I'm mess with that," and then they started letting other artists be like, "Don't be afraid, try this, try that, and do some other things." So
Yeah.
as far as getting into the process, because I also know that you've rapped as well, and you do the production. I would say mainly, mostly more than anything. But when it comes to writing, pen, computer, phone, or in your head? What do you how you how you coming up with the bars?
um it's a mix between phone and punching, depending how far away from the mic I am. Make sense?
Okay.
Like if I'm out and about, then I'll jot the line. I'll, if I'm out and about, then of course I'm gonna write it down. But if I'm in the studio and it's just me in the studio and I'm already there, put it this way. I'm gonna use this analogy. You got some people who break up the weed and put it straight in the blunt, and then you got some people who break up the weed, put it on another surface, line it up, and then they put it in the blunt. I put the weed straight in the blunt if I'm there.
Okay. Okay. So I saw a documentary recently. It's probably like a 5-minute documentary, but got like Judge Blaze in it. It's a real, but it's called the punching method. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly what I'm doing. I'm not sitting there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not one of these niggas that's goddamn. I'm holding a whole 24 bar verse in my head. No, you're gonna get the most you're getting out of me is four. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
So I can hold four in my head, you know what I'm saying? But after that, I'm either punching in or if I'm too far away, then I'll write it down. But the problem is if I'm far away and I write it down, I might forget how I said it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
which is why, I'll just go straight to the mic. So even if I might stutter and find something. I approach it the same way I do beats. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of times you probably won't even, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll miss a pad or I'll miss the note and be like, wait a minute, it still sound funky. I'm gonna keep
Right.
that. You know what I'm saying? So like I like being, it's like I can be very picky and free at the same time.
And so thinking about that as well, when you're making the beats, is it drum first or sample first or no drums? I've been look, I didn't ask this question to Apollo Brown. I got 14 KT. I then got J.R. Swift. I got Stu Bangers. The answers y'all be having with this, man. I love it. So where we at with this part?
You know what? I'm born. My answer probably gonna be boring as hell because it's all of the above.
Okay. All right.
All of the above. All of the above. And like I said, it depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. Sometimes I might find a sample first. Sometimes I'll be digging through samples and I can't find nothing, so I'll just lay down some drums real quick. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes, sometimes I'll have a bass line in my head. You know what I'm saying? And I just tap them drums out, play the bass line, switch up. I'm all over the place. Like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't approach it the same way every time. You know what I'm saying? It's every beat is a per case basis.
Okay, dope. How do you feel about I like I like songs that have either or too. I'm kind of just like if it sound fire to me.
If it
Um
sound fire to me.
yeah.
That's
So when they started like ushering now, you see people had the no drums, a lot of just a hot loop. What was your I guess when it started occurring more so than anything, was it more like okay, embracing it just because of you having the experience of already saying, okay, I can do R&B, rock, whatever it is, let me become the best at it, or was you kind of like a little apprehensive at first?
I mean, I grew up on Wu-Tang. What we talking about?
Right, right.
I mean,
I
yeah,
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
yeah. I grew up on Wu. So what we talking about? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like all I need, what was it? All I got is you. That was a radio hit, wasn't it?
yeah,
With Mary J. Blige on it, right?
yeah.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Yeah. I know it's funny because there's a lot of, if you go back, especially with RZA, just like the way he would make beats and chop things up, and some of the weirdest things that, even if you think of like the what, just that how weird a lot of these things are, just beats that simple, just
That was
has simple
that's
stuff.
weird to people. It's weird now.
Oh, back then it was. I remember when it first came out, like
I
being
thought it
hearing
was
it.
fly when I first. I mean, because maybe because I heard it in context of the album first.
Yeah,
So because I bought the tape,
yeah,
I bought the tape as soon as it dropped. So I don't think it became a single until later. But
yeah. I was in the studio. I heard it
um,
with Track Masters. They had an early copy of it. Tone played it in the studio, and everybody was tripping over the what. Because just the way that Mo B did that sample, the way he flipped it. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, you talking about the what? Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it was kind of awkward, but I think like overall, just we were kind of used to that sound, which is kind of profound nowadays anyway. It's kind of now,
yeah.
I think you have a lot more leeway nowadays too, just to rock on something
Definitely,
that's
I was
fire.
used to it. I guess I was used to it because by that time I didn't engulf myself in what do you believe in, heaven or hell? You know what I'm saying? I'm over there,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like I guess I'm already kind of my palate was ready for it. You know what I'm saying? So I already had it embraced, and RZA is probably one of my favorite producers. Everybody, that's what it's we're what we're experiencing is a mixture of RZA and Havoc and you know uh yeah
yeah. I agree totally, man.
Lay Dilla influenced.
Yeah,
um you know you can't leave out Doom. The Doom influence is super heavy with the youngsters right now, with the underground mainstream youngsters. You know what I'm saying? The Doom influence is
yeah,
super heavy. You know what I'm saying, with the youth.
yeah.
So
In my school, I teach middle school, and they be like, "Mister, you ever heard of Doom?" They be asking me if I ever heard of Doom. That's
that's
how it is.
crazy asking you, right? You know what I'm
And,
saying? So it's like, yeah, like he's the man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
I've had a
I,
student ask me about Big L. Like, you ever heard of Big L? I was like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I've heard of these
So
people. He's like,
as far as the state of things, you know what I'm saying? I think, it's a different audience that's talking. You know what I'm saying? So the ones that have complaints are the ones that they don't come from the school that we come from. And
yeah,
I think they don't know how to deal with our school becoming 20 years the kids made our what came from our school mainstream. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's kind of dope. They're doing it without radio. They're doing it without, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now
I,
what I will say though is that they are, making sure they create in-person experiences with the fans
yeah,
or something interactive that's going, you know what I'm saying? Like they make sure they do the best that they can. Like you hear some of these, like, you hear some of these songs and you'll be like, what the fuck? But then you see that show and you watch how it goes over. It's like it's undeniable
yeah,
how this sound and even the more experimental records have really touched the audience that they got. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then they perform it crazy too. You know what I'm saying? Like this some young cats, man, that's rocking stages. But they know how to do it. It's crazy.
yeah. I love that. I love that you can have like you're not. I love that there's really not a box no more.
Yeah.
You know what? You could do it like you could have any artist and just make a beat and it be anything, and it's really about how they flow to it. I think now we've learned is more so how you're gonna flow on it and bring this to life rather than
I
before it
mean,
was, you know?
yeah, it's that, but you really gotta be saying something now.
Yeah,
Like you really gotta be saying something about something. Like you kinda, you can't rap about rapping no more. You know what
yeah,
I'm
for
saying?
sure.
I have noticed that as well. You know what I'm saying? So like the kids gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna do your flow pattern. They're gonna check your flow pattern. They're gonna check, you know what I'm saying? If you got melodies, you better use, that's a plus too. You don't have to use them, but it's a plus too. But
Yeah,
you kind of gotta be saying something now. You know what I'm saying? They don't want that. The kid, there's a shift happening right now. You know what I'm saying? If you put your ear to the ground, there's a real live shift happening with the music, and I kind of find it very interesting the direction it's going. So, and I'm excited too. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm excited to be contributing the year of the shift. You know what I'm saying? So, I got, like I said earlier, you know what I'm saying? I got a couple other projects that's been going on as well. Me and Elza just dropped an EP, I Am Him EP. It's a three
Yep,
piece.
I heard that. I listened to
Yeah,
that. I bought the
the
last time,
cassettes.
so I have it in my phone. I buy y'all stuff, you know.
Oh
So
shit! Thank you,
yeah, I
man. I
buy that stuff.
appreciate it.
I download it as soon as I see it. I do the pre-order on there, and I even post it too. I'll post it on my Instagram, a picture that I pre-ordered y'all stuff and everything, man. Because
Man,
I
thank you,
know
man.
I know the quality of what y'all are doing, and also the integrity of it from this, the origins of who y'all are and what y'all stand for. And I know it's such a big sea out there that sometimes people don't even know that we've dropped something. Like, even as friends, we cannot know that the other person dropped stuff. So when I know it's of
Right.
something quality, I'll buy it, I'll pre-order it, I'll post a screenshot of it, and then go from there with it. I did that with the new Smith and Wesson. I did that with yours. I did that with Queen Heroin. I did that with Ace albums. So I try to just show that you can still purchase the product, because everybody like to run to the streaming, but I'm like, I'm gonna try to purchase it and get a little bit bigger piece of the pie for y'all, or whatever case.
But man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah,
That
man.
means you
I
got to
love
get
I
that new
love
shit.
that combination. Jericho Jackson, for y'all that's listening and watching.
Yeah.
Dope album. I love that, man. Self-made, one of my favorite joints right there. Just
Thank
when
you,
that
man.
come on, you just gotta loud when that's knocking. So I want to get into as far as live instruments. Do you like the live instrument stuff, or do you just kind of know what you want to hear as well when somebody's playing, or do you have people come in?
Both,
Okay.
everything, all of it, all of that. Yeah, yes, yes, and yes. Um,
How
like I said,
about
I
how
do
about versus
R.
the sampling too? With the sampling, how does all that work together with you?
Yeah, look, all of that, all of it. Yeah, I do it all, bro.
What
Because
what what instruments do you play, Crisis?
I mean, I played piano and I played trumpet for a few years, man.
I've been trying to get my students to, like, I tell them, I'm like, man, they got piano course in my school. I'm like, man, y'all don't understand. Y'all better learn that piano, man. Like,
Yeah,
piano is such a
I
big
was,
deal.
I mean, it was crazy for me for trumpet though because I only reason why I couldn't get first chair is because I couldn't sight read.
Okay.
But I hear you know what I'm saying? I could hear the music and I just need to hear it twice. And I was always cheating on my tests. So what I would do is I would listen to whoever's next to me play it. I would
Right.
go through it twice. Third time I got it. You know what I'm saying? That was just on trumpet. So and
Yeah.
I would just disregard the music, reading the music because I just hear it. I can hear it and just
How
go
how did
straight
they
to it.
take to that though? Like, the people that was teaching you, did they kind of like say, well, this is how he learned, this is what it is, or how
It's
did
just
that?
for me. I just kind of took it for what it is because
Right.
my homeboy was first chair. Like me and the first chair cat, we was tight anyway. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I noticed he was the only person on first chair, nigga, I'd be like, yo, this shit sound a little thin. I just jump in and play his part with him. Like, fuck it.
Right.
Without the band director even knowing. Like he might hear it and be like, all right, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
was just never official in class. You know what I'm saying? I guess just for
Yeah.
the graded system, because I'm like, I'm gonna play what the hell I want anyway. And nail it so he couldn't say nothing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I never got fight about it. It was just like he would just look at me like, is that what you're doing? I'd be like, yeah, all right, cool, play it. You know what I'm saying? But it just could when it came to test time, I just, it was, the grade is the grade. You know what I'm saying? Like I still got an A, fuck it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and I think
Like
it's a feeling
it
thing too.
hurt.
I think
Yeah,
professors and people had to learn, like,
yeah,
not everybody's going to be so technical to the sheet. I
yeah,
think it also has to be like the new professors or people need to understand that, does it sound good? Like,
yeah,
not being so stringent on it, are you following this direction? Because how do you get new innovation, or we get a crisis? How do we get a crisis if we don't let you be
right.
you? You know?
Exactly. So it's just like, like I said, it's an entire test with like 20, 30 questions. And
Right.
I'm not gonna beat myself up for getting one, you know?
Right.
That makes no
Yeah.
sense. I'm sorry, was I breaking up?
You broke up a little bit,
One,
but
two,
we
one, two,
good.
one, two. Was I
We're
breaking up?
We good. We got you.
Oh,
I was
okay.
when I
Yeah,
went
I'm
to
not
college,
gonna
I
yeah.
had the French horn, man.
I ain't gonna get bent out of shape over one answer.
Yeah, I went to
Say what?
college. I had the French horn, and
Oh
and I
word.
was
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was right over
I,
there.
I played a little bit, and then I was like, "Yo, this ain't me." I fell back on it. I said, "I can't do the French horn," but yeah.
See,
So
but you
I
know
got
how I would take my home trumpet home. The way I would practice playing trumpet, I would sit there and play. I would go home and learn the notes to Patty Duke by De La Soul.
mm,
That's what I
yeah. I
was doing.
think
I was taking my horn home and what I'm saying, practicing with my albums. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. I wish I had
that's how I learned.
that foresight. I wish I had that foresight because now I wish I would have learned that, and I wish I would have learned piano because now I see the
Yeah,
benefit. One day, Nas got a record called, I think it's called Money. Might be called Money. Like he's rhyming about, and it got like these steel drums in it, right?
yeah, yeah. My
And
bitch is my money. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's
I
on
think
I
got
am. I think.
steel drums in that song. And I remember one day like being in the session and poking tone and working on that session, and they
Hmm.
needed steel drums. So I'm thinking the steel pan drums, right? They had somebody
Hmm.
just coming and playing with piano.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And then, but
yeah. It's a
people
test.
at home don't know that's not the real steel pan drums. And that's when I realized the value of piano with being able to play anything,
Hmm. Right. You know how much? You know me. Oh, you know how often we get keyboard bass mixed up with electric bass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same principle. It's like once I understood that, and you can really, as long as it's really at the end of the day, because I only took like minimal piano lessons. I only got so far in my lessons. 'Cause like I said, I wasn't good at sight reading. So, but I could, you know what I'm saying? Like I can assemble chords. I understood the concept of assembling chords, and you know, and then as I got deeper into the game, I would watch, when people would come in or if I was at a sound check. I think I found myself, I found myself at sound checks or in the studio, um, watching cats like Terrace Martin or Robert Glasper. I think I ended up at a sound check in the back of a Backstreet reunion tour, and I was just watching people move their hands. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? As I'm like, oh, okay, so okay, you make it move. Okay. So just watching people's hands and understanding the concept of chords already and how the piano work. I've been playing with pianos all my life. I just never got that nice. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but I could tell, you know what I'm saying? And I think at some point I also gained the foresight when we were working on Heather Victoria's album. Um, that's when I kind of learned the foresight of being able to select the sounds for if I as a producer, like, okay, and I want a certain sound and I can't play it, but I got my man's who's nice with the keys. I just, this is the sounds I want you to play, and here's the line, and do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense from there. So, and then I incorporate that into my mix, you know what I'm saying? So, like, what we did on that album was we took all our beats and got a live band to play everything over. So, I had to learn how to mic up drums, and you know what I'm saying? I had to learn how to mic up the drums. I had to identify what instruments were in the records that I used and all of that stuff and get the bands to, you know what I'm saying? And I had to record all the instruments, mix them motherfuckers, mix the vocals, all of that shit. And then we had our own mix, I got, I sent that off to my mastering engineer, you know what I'm saying? All of that. So, and then that ended up learning how to do that, ended up getting me a gold record on JID album. So, because I had to replay that, I had to get that sample replayed. So I called up the same guys that I worked on Heather's album with, which is also
Mhm.
Rhapsody's live band. So I just, I made that phone call. I had to recreate the beat with the live band, sent it off to JID. It met approvals. 1 year later, we got a gold record.
And
Everybody that replayed the record with me, we all got a gold record.
Yeah, and that's why I want people to hear these type of stories because people might not know that. I know I didn't know that, but I want people to hear that process of not just like saying, we can't do it, we can't do this. Like, but the fact
Nah,
that
I
you
can
went
do
to
it.
that length, you learned all
Yeah.
other stuff, miking up the drums, miking up this, and doing all that other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do it. I done learned how to do it. I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So I think I only missed one or two sample replays and it was because we couldn't get people in the session on time. Other than I'll probably miss two syncs because of that. Other than that, I make all my syncs because all right, boom. All right, just pay the writer.
So
All right, let
speaking,
me get my man Soul on the keys, my man John on the drums. He played for Rhapsody and Masego. You know what I'm saying? My man Soul on the keys. He just did the jazz album with Ninth. And he also, I think he played on Rhapsody album too. He's part of her band as well. You know what I'm saying? So my man, you know what I'm saying? I got cats on deck that if I need to get something done, I'm gonna do it.
and then speaking of getting people coming to the studio, do you prefer the artist show up with the lyrics or they write in the studio? What do you prefer?
Both. Do what you do. I come as long as you prepared come correct when you get on that mic, man. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't drop no bullshit. Whatever the process is, you don't even gotta. Like I said, I'm very open. Like you know what I'm saying, because I don't work in just hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna
Right,
apply. I apply the rules because I'm making music at the end of the day. So whatever shit I picked up from a session that I did with Moo Fresh, I'm gonna bring that in to this. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever session I watch. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring it into the rap shit. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I bring it. If an MC needs a little help, I'm gonna give him the space. Not only am I gonna give him the space to find what he need to find, but I'm also trying. It's my job as a producer, outside of making the beat, to help them get there. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
almost. You know what I'm saying? Like damn near to. You know, I'm not telling you how to rap, but I am gonna coach you how to. If I hear something, I am gonna coach you through that process. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about It's not about you and your raps. It's about the product at the end of the day. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's
So
my next question actually. Crisis is what's the difference between a beat maker versus a producer?
a producer, the beat maker just made the beat.
Right,
Plain and simple.
right, and just send it to you, right? And that's it. That's it.
Right.
And then they get it
Yeah.
back
You
and
know what
call
I'm
it a day.
saying? They get
Yeah,
it back and they give you the stems and let you do what the fuck you want to do. At that point, the rapper's kind of the producer, kind of taking the job of the producer at some point because you know, and the lines is a little blurred right now because you got rappers that have been basically quote unquote producing themselves to the point because they think that's their job. When a producer steps in, they might go through a little bit of shock because they don't, because they ain't never had a producer produce them. You know what I'm saying? You got some MCs that are open to it, but then you got some producers, they don't know that this is what's happening. So they think I promise you guys, we're not trying to take your job. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I'm trying to, make the best song possible and really see it through. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if you could say these words, if you put emphasis on this words, it's gonna make this part of the song stand out. You know what I'm saying? Or, we're
right.
gonna build this, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? I think we should get this person to sing on it. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I got a melody for it. Here it go. I'll lay down a mumble track for a motherfucker quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you know, that's my training. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
just doing what I was practiced to do, you know what I'm saying, as a producer. That's what I've been doing for the past 20, them joints.
yeah. I also look at it on the equivalent of like an athlete. You know how you can have like a star athlete, but they're not
Yeah.
coachable. You know,
Oh
and or
yeah.
then that athlete gets with like Greg Pop, or they get with like how LeBron got with what's the name, Miami Heat coach. You know, like
Hmm.
once you might have all this talent, but then when you get with these particular coaches, or you got with Tyronn Lue, you got to get around people that, yeah, you ill, but these people were the people that can identify how to make what you can do to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Phil Jackson is who he is for a reason now.
So there you go, Phil
Phil
Jackson. Yeah,
Jackson, my
right.
G, like, you know what I mean? Steve Kerr,
Yeah.
I guess he on his job, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess that's yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a team position. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it, you know, at least in the studio. And now we get everything outside of the studio. All right, I get all that. Tell me when to show up. But like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? When we get in the studio, like I'm gonna do my job. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
then
don't be
do
afraid. It's
you
nothing personal with anybody. We just trying to make the record here.
do you you have the ideas for the tracks, or you like when the artist comes up with it on their own? Because I've seen both
Both,
ways work out dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
both, both. If I got an idea, of course I'm gonna bring it to the table. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I might have something in the beat that'll, I had you. A lot of times it's just, I had you in mind. I don't know what you want to rap about, but your voice goes here. You know what I'm saying? Like, or, we could, I got this hook idea from this, or, I'll chop up something for a hook and be like, all right, we're going to make a song about this. You know what I'm
And
saying?
then
So,
yeah.
yeah. Or a lot of times, then too, because when I make it for albums with the person, you know what I'm saying? I try to, you know, draw out a map, try to have some type of map drawn out so the album stays cohesive. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I gotta make sure certain beats get picked and certain songs get made. So, you know, the bigger picture is a cohesive picture. You know what I'm saying?
How about Crisis? Because you work with so many people, right? And then as a producer, sometimes you say, I got this beat that'll fit this person. Does it sometimes happen to be like that beat you play it for the person you didn't think would be on it and they wind up being fired with that person? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Jesus Christ with Conway was like that. I didn't expect
Okay,
him to
hold
pick that.
on, hold on, hold on. That's
Mhm.
probably my favorite joint from you, yo. Yo, let me tell you, I ride in the car with that song on repeat, heavy, all the time.
Yeah, that
And
was a beat I didn't expect him to pick right there.
yeah, I play that instrumental all the time. And I love the way he came on. You gotta salute me. And he just ride that beat crazy on that. That's probably
Yeah.
that might be my favorite joint, man. I love that record, man.
Thank you, man.
So
Thank you.
yeah. So you're saying you had that beat for somebody else and then he heard it?
Nah, I just threw it in there just to fill up space. Like I'm like I don't think I mean if you want like I just like all right, these are the beats I think he'll go for, but I guess let me just so I can send more than 4 beats. So I'm sending more than 4 or 5 beats. Let me just throw this in there just in case. You know what I'm saying? Just to fill up, just so I can say I sent more than one. I know it's not. I don't think this is what he's looking for, but I'm gonna throw it in there anyway, just to.
Man, that joint is my joint, yo. And the
That
tempo
ended up
with it,
being the one.
oh man, the drums on there, the tempo of it is just it's that tempo that you gotta nod with it, but I'm telling you, I be driving with it like you gotta salute. Down there. It's that's my favorite joint for everybody out there that now
Thank
you
you.
know. That's my joint, man. And then how long does it take for you to make a beat?
Depends. It depends. You know what I'm saying? What all I'm putting into the beat. It's fair to say that all right, starting out, I was making beats in like 30 minutes. All
Okay.
right. You know what I'm saying? And me and Knife used to have battles too, and like, who can make a beat. We used to do whole song competitions when they're like in 45 minutes, you gotta get with an MC and you gotta make the beat. The MC gotta write a verse and a hook in 45 minutes.
Mm,
Yeah. So we used to do shit like that. So obviously in the beginning, 30 minutes I make a beat. 20 to 30 minutes. And then, as the process has matured, especially like because beat making has changed a lot
right.
in the past 5 years. So it's a lot more detailed than it used to be. I'm a lot more thoughtful and mindful of the beats that I'm making nowadays, and because of that, it has let's say when I used to probably make 5 beats a day, I can make like
Yeah.
3. You know what I'm saying? I
Okay.
make 3 instead of 5. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it
And
really all
then
depends on how I'm doing it.
And then how long do you give artists with a beat before you may sell it? Because I know that's been a thing. Because as artists, sometimes we be hogging beats, man. We'll be like having like a beat sitting there for a while. Sometimes it might take that artist some time to even do that. And then you waited a couple of months, but it was worth the wait. You know what I'm saying? So do
I
you have
mean,
like a
yeah,
particular what's your
there's a
patience level?
communication. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm petty as hell. No, I'm kidding. Nah, I'm a check. I'm a check like every now and again. Like, you still want this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Right.
give you the courtesy call. You know what I'm saying? But then sometimes, it depends on who got it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm giving it up to somebody, it gotta be somebody worth it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna shoot it down. I'm gonna aim up. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna give it away, I'm gonna give it up. I'm not gonna give it down. Pause. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I know what you're saying. And
you know.
then at what point do you feel like the beat is finished and ready for mixing and mastering? Because that could be a challenge too. Almost even if you write in the rhyme, you might like that's what's dope about you having you as a producer. Somebody might write a 16 around you, and you might be like, nah, that 12. Leave it at 12. So what is it like as far as in that frame of mind when you're making the beat? You're like, I got everything I need for this beat because you probably could be like add more if you wanted to.
Nah, because I prefer to make the beat good enough for the person to rap to, and so I'll take everything out just so motherfucker can rap to it.
Okay.
I don't like overloading the beat anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta leave space for the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever get a beat from me and it sounds incomplete because you are the completion. You know what I'm saying? I don't make beats with the intention of making instrumental records. I don't come from that school. You know what I'm saying? It's cool if people do that, but I just don't come from that school. I come from the school of making the beat that's gonna turn into a song later on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and all of our and most of your it's a guarantee that most of your favorite records are probably a simple 2 to 4 bar loop with something just coming in every now and again. You know what I'm saying? Something coming in
Yeah.
and out of every now and again. I make little challenges for myself. Like, what's the simplest beat I can make that's gonna be the most potent? I'll go on challenges like that for myself. Like, what's the most I can pull out of a 2 bar loop for the
Yeah,
whole
you got
record
me
and make
thinking.
it make sense? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm already thinking like that. Like, I'll make a beat that I am him beat is a 9 bar loop. Like, so I'm not finna, yeah. You know what I mean? Making it, yeah. If we're all in the business, I have song. You remember Hovey Baby? That was like a 5 bar loop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Electric Relaxation was a 3 bar loop. Players by Dilla was that was no. Get This Money was a 5 bar loop. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
I already come from that. I'm not about to argue. If you got a 12. And it lands and it lands where it's supposed to be. It's my job to make it make sense. If that 12 and that's your point, but it felt good.
Right.
Now if it didn't feel right, if he stopped there and it didn't feel right, then add in probably like a bar or two. You know what I'm saying? If they're clever, some people are clever enough to make it land. I think I was doing a record with Mussolini, and I'm like, yo, I just need 2 bars there. He's like, oh, word. He was like, all right, give me. He sat there for 2 minutes and stretched out 2 words where it made sense. I was like, see?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I was like, word up. You know what? At first I was confused and I was like, wait a minute, let me listen a couple more times. You know what? Nah, that's it. He's like, you need some more? I was like, you know what? Nah, watch this.
Right.
I started doing my little minority report and the shit, and then, on the Pro Tools, and then boom, voila. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing too, man. Like, you gotta work with cats that you can build a sound with and trust. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I prefer like me and Mussolini, man. The way our chemistry works, man, is like he might not know what I'm thinking, and I might not know what he's thinking, but he trusts me enough. I trust him enough to, give him the record that, I know he's gonna rap good. But
Right.
he trusts me enough to he might not have to where he can give me a partial idea and I can finish it off for him. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I work. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll give me I'll give him a partial idea, he'll throw something on it. He'll give me a partial idea, I'll fill that out. And then, he'll throw another idea, or I'll be like, yo, okay, now we need this or this, and boom, songs are finished, songs finished. And then, I guess the mixing process, being that I am the mixing engineer, you
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Mixing
Do
and
you do you
sequencing.
mix do you mix as you go, or do you mix before and then give the beat, or do you mix after? Because I know there's
As I'm
you can
going
mix.
along. Yeah,
What you say?
I'll mix different elements as I go along instead of trying to do everything all at once.
Okay.
Make sense? So like,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of trying to do everything all at once, like when I make my beat, I make sure it's a good clean mix. You know what I'm saying? When I'm recording vocals, I'm making sure I'm recording in clean. It ain't got to be the perfect output mix, but as long as it's coming in, you know what I'm saying? As long as I'm going in clean, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm monitoring all of these things, you know what I'm saying, as I'm going along. So
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? And I do have like cats that I get information from and I just do things myself. You know what I'm saying? Like make engineers your friend. If you wanna be in control of that, if you got time to control that, shit, I would say even if you don't right now as a producer, you need to learn how to mix a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta be perfect, but you need to know enough. But once you start learning a little bit, eventually you're gonna learn enough. You know what I'm saying? So all you need to do is figure out a little bit, that first little bit out. Once you get that, it's gonna open a wormhole in your mind, and you're gonna wanna, you know what I'm saying?
I
Yeah,
always
you
thought it
go.
was I always thought it was interesting how Eminem dropped the first two albums, and then the third he was doing everything. He
Yeah,
was making. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was interesting. Like, because I don't think I really recall somebody having that producer of that caliber, and then you say, okay, my third album, let me rock, and he let him rock with mixing, produce. So I always thought that was kind of like a checkpoint in hip hop in some regards of just like being under somebody of that caliber, and they letting you kind of do what you're saying.
yeah. I mean, he learned, man. I mean, we get in that studio, man. We all start turning into some nerds now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, cause yeah, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you love what you do. If we really, really love what we're doing, we're gonna turn into some nerds once we start looking at that gear and learning what it does and all right, what this frequency mean, what that mean, you know what I'm saying? So that just comes with the love of what we doing, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So, what's your atmosphere when creating? Do you like it daytime, morning, nighttime? No, everybody sleep, nobody around, crowded studio, smoking. What's that like for you to get the project done?
um Whatever it takes for me to just force myself to fall into the music. Like it could be a noisy room and I'll just, do my little meditative thing for like 2 seconds and just, block everything out and fall into the machine. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I like the pressure of being in a room full of cats. Sometimes I need that space alone. I don't it's all of it. All of it, man. I hate to say this, man. It's not a I prefer being in a room by myself, but sometimes it's okay, to throw myself. Sometimes I find myself thrown into the fire and performing, great either way. So,
Yeah, I
it's
think
just you just
I think
gotta,
you.
being
I was
present.
I was
Being present is possible. I just need to be in a position where I can be as present with the music as possible.
So yeah, so having these situations, being in the industry, like years ago, you did the Nike soundtrack, and understanding that you're able to adapt to different situations in the studio. And I would probably attribute that to you and Ninth earlier in the years doing 30-minute battles, 45 minutes, and that. Now, as you know, sometimes you might get an opportunity and they need it done by tomorrow. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So you
yeah,
can't, you know what I mean? So, you
yeah.
might be a person that some people might be like, yeah, I need a few weeks, a few months, but some of these opportunities are like, yeah, I need it in an hour. I need it, so you don't really
Nah,
have.
nah, yeah, nah, I'm missing in an hour. I at least need about a day or two. You
Okay,
know what I'm
okay,
saying? I need probably about 48 hours because, we're all adults. So if I got to hire, it depends on if I got to hire somebody or not. You know what I'm saying? If to get, if I got to go get the players, that's going to
right.
take a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? I think for the JID record, that took like a week
Oh, okay,
because I had to pull a bunch of people together. Like the first day, well, it actually took me like a month to turn it in because I was on tour at the time. So, and I was like, how much time we got? Oh, we got time. All right, well, I'll get off the road next month. I'm gonna try to da I have it in. It was like everybody was cool. We was getting closer to that deadline. So I was just like, so I got home and I was just like, you know what? Let me call this guy, this guy, this guy. I knocked all the recording down in a week. And then I spent like another week mixing it. And then, you know, I sent some, I sent what I needed to JID. And I believe Ali mixed it, and then we were good to go.
so
Yeah, Ali did the final mix. We're good to go. Yeah,
now atmosphere wise, and then with the climate of making beats and everything, what's your thoughts on using AI?
I'm using it.
Okay,
What I'm using it for, I might not disclose, but yeah, I'm
right.
with it. I'm with it because now that opens up the door for me to be able to turn something in tomorrow when I do got a sync license.
Yeah, I've seen people using it now. The issue I've seen that from working with producers that are using it is that the companies that are you're using AI with now, their terms are like a little strict, or they're like they have their terms in there. Have
hmm
you How do you feel about the terms? Do you feel like they're
I
fair? Or
I haven't run into anything, and I guess I just been having fun making the music, so I'm not exactly sure
right,
what the issue is. I guess I haven't gone into that depth because now I'm just creating. I'm
right.
enjoying the creations I'm making with it right now. You know what I'm saying? So you know, yeah. I would like to say I would like to ask them what are the issues that are coming up right now? What
Oh, so
would you
like
say?
if something gets picked up for a sync license, then you have to redo the contract with them, or like they have to be brought upon with the song. They might demand 50% of the song. So a lot of it is in the fine print. There's a lot of like fine print things that come with depending on how much the song takes off.
Okay, I
So
gotta look in. I gotta look into that and see what's up.
yeah, they'll have stuff
Yeah.
like if it's a major song, a major release, then these are the terms that they want and what are automatically their portion of the song. Because
Mhm.
I've had some songs that were like done and they had that in it, and I actually sent it to my publishing administrator, and she was like, let me see the terms. And then she read the terms. It was like, this might just be a headache down the line. So
Mm.
yeah, there's some certain terms in there that have come up since I've been doing some of this stuff. What's your
Mhm.
studio setup?
I mean, it's my laptop, um, some monitors. Uh, I got the Machine Plus. I got controllers for it. Yeah, I got controllers. Got my turntables. Um, you know, I don't have a lot of. I don't have a lot. I don't have any analog gear, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Just a
Okay,
couple of
yeah.
soundboards. Yeah, nothing crazy, man. Just mostly just me and my imagination and records and my knowledge of, I guess my knowledge of making beats. I mean, how long I've been doing it. Me and my experiences. Sometimes I'll go through records. Sometimes I'll find another way to, dig up samples. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's
And
it's
then
it's yeah,
oh,
it's modern. It's modern, but it's still, it's modern, but it's still primitive at the same time. I guess.
And then as far as creating the song, are you coming up with the chorus or the verse first when you're producing? What is your focus?
Both, both.
So either way,
Either way, like I said, it's open. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think I had the first four lines of a verse, but it ends up turning into the hook anyway. Sometimes the last four bars of the verse turns into the hook. You know what I'm saying? Like you never know. But sometimes I just have a whole long ass verse with no hook. Like I don't I don't limit myself to one way of thinking. Like
right.
I approach everything just as it comes. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, being locked into one way.
So yeah, man, Crisis. I appreciate you coming on here, man. I know you got some stuff to promote before we go too, though. But what's your
Yes.
social media? What's your social media?
On Instagram, it's at crisis underscore. Twitter's at crisis. Um, any variation of that is probably you'll see it on TikTok, Facebook, KHRYSIS. Just spell it out, KHRYSIS. That's me.
Yeah,
Um, you yeah. As far as albums I got promoting right now, like I said, we got Elzai, the I Am Him, maxi single. It's three songs, you know what I'm saying, on there. Me and Elzai been cooking up for it. We just wanted to give the fans, at least a few records, you know what I'm saying, because it's been so long since, we did anything, man. We got three joints on there, man, including Last Laugh, which features Damo Genesis and Oh No. Um, then of course, right now, what I'm saying, myself and TF, man, we just dropped a very well received, what I'm saying, album that I'm very proud of, man. It's called The Green Bottle. It's being distributed by Rock Nation, man. We got the features from Smoke DZA, Flea Lord, Currency, Stir, Bun B, Westside Web, and my man Meek. And then after that, man, I would like to say in the fall, me and Mussolini are dropping Pure Ism too. So the sequel. So
I'm
yeah,
glad, man.
I'm
You
busy.
you always stay busy, man. You always got something.
I'm busy, man, but this time I'm actually dropping shit. You know what I'm saying? I know I say I'm always busy, but this time I'm dropping shit for real this time. So, I'm having fun. And I'm having fun, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting to do things a little differently, you know what I'm saying? So I started my own label a few years ago, man. Everybody, kind of started when I dropped my solo record, The Hour Crisis, you know what I'm saying, which I do plan on starting a sequel for that as well. I got a solo EP I'm trying to knock out, you know what I'm saying, with me rhyming a little bit more. So, I'm gonna
What
just keep busy, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm gonna keep busy.
what are what are like three songs or albums if nobody ever heard of you that you'd be like, check these three out, like as a first impression? What's three projects or songs that you would send somebody to check out?
I was sending The Hour Crisis.
Okay.
Um that song, that's an album, that shows all my range, you know what I'm saying? I'm rapping on there, I got De La Soul on there, I got Busta Rhyme on there, I got Moo Moo Fresh, you know what I'm saying, Pharoah Monch. Chi Ali is on there. Della Funky Homo Sapien is on there. You know what I'm saying? So that's been buzzing around for a year. So that should cover. I got evidence is on it. I think that covers my range all the way from the hip hop to the R&B records that I've been doing. Um, Another one that's me, Pure Ism by Mussolini, and then by myself and the Mussolini, and then this TF album, this current TF album right now, the Green Bottle.
Dope, man. Well, Crisis, once again, man, you super dope. I'm glad to have you on the show so I could kind of get people to see some insight on how you create things, put things together so they know how these dope beats come out. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to learn from hearing what you do. And they always probably wonder, like, they watch Instagram like I do, and they be like, dang, he cooking that up, how he's doing that. Now they get to get some insight on that. And yo, I really appreciate you being on here. And to everybody out there, like I always ask y'all, what your words are worth. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Yo, man. Thanks, man, for being on here, man. I appreciate
Yo,
that,
thanks for
man.
having me, man. Thanks for having me, man.